Hi and welcome to the shop. Today we're going to make a baseball bat. Well, not this one. I made this one yesterday, but we're going to make another one. So keep watching. Okay, to start out we're going to use a blank that's specifically made for making bats. It's about 3 inches in diameter. This is made out of maple. And you can get these at a lot of different places, but I got mine from a place called Hardwoods out in Washington State. Alright, so I'm going to use a marking gauge here, or center finder, and I am going to draw a bunch of lines and try to find the center of this piece. Okay, so you can see I drew a bunch of lines. The center's going to kind of be in the middle of that mess. And I'm going to do that to both sides. And then I'll get this mounted between centers on my lathe. So the first thing I'm going to do now that it's up on the lathe is I'm going to true up just a small section here, and I'm going to cut in a 10-inch so I can put this in a chuck. So I did a web search on baseball bat dimensions, and I downloaded a file that had the baseball bat dimensions on it, and the way it suggested is that about every 4 inches or so, you mark a line, and it gives you the diameter, what the bat should be at each interval. That plan was for a 32-inch bat. This is going to be a 33-inch, so I just made some slight adjustments to make up for the extra inch, and I have it all marked out. The next thing I'm going to do is actually write the measurements on the wood so I don't forget what they're supposed to be. Okay, here you can see I have the dimensions written down along the bat. And down the end here, this 2 at the end is going to be the knob at the end. Alright, so the next thing will be to take a caliper and set it to the depth for the first measurement, which is 2.5 inches. And since this is the end of the bat, I'm going to actually cut my groove right on the edge of the bat. Alright, so you can see the next measurement here is 2 7/16. I'm going to cut this dead center on that line, and I got my caliper adjusted to 7/16, and I'll ride that caliper in the groove that I'm cutting until it slips through. Okay, and then I'll continue that process down the length of the bat. I'm only going to do probably like another 2, measuring the depth, and then I'll start blending them in. That way I have a lot of mass still here supporting the piece. Alright, now that I have those first 4 grooves cut, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start blending this wood, down to the depth of each groove. Basically trying to join each one. So it's, forms a nice smooth line. Alright, so you can see we got that mostly shaped up nice. This kind of part's kind of tricky, because you really got to kind of blend this almost like a little bit of an S-curve here. You know, it's got to come off of this main line and then dip down and then start curving out, because the rest of this bat's going to get thinner. And just kind of feel it to make sure that you don't have any weird bumps or anything. Now, if you're good with this skew, you could have done that all with this skew, but I'm not good with this skew, so I'm using the spindle roughing gouge. So we're just going to continue down. I'll probably do 2 more, and then I'll work on the rest. Alright, on the last groove that I had to cut, the groove had to be too deep for the parting tool, and so I had to cut some relief cuts. So I figured I would show you what I did. So you can see this one, I know it's upside down for you, but this has to be you know, just a 1 1/8 inch diameter. So I have my caliper set for 1 1/8 inches, and I'm going to start cutting that groove. Okay, I can only get about that deep, and obviously that's not going to work. So what I'm going to have to do is take a little bit of the wood away and give it a little bit of relief on either side, so I can continue to cut the depth that I want. Alright, so you can see I kind of widened that up a little bit on both sides, but I did not go all the way down to my initial groove, so I can still have the caliper ride on that, so I get the right depth that I'm looking for. Alright, now I'll blend down these last couple of sections that we just cut. Okay, so here we are at the end. So I have my line marked here for the end of the bat, but the plan that I have has that falling right in the middle of the knob, so I marked a little bit on either side to make the knob. So I'm going to cut this down to a 2-inch depth, and then I'm going to cut this line down for the outside of the knob down just a little bit past that, so I'll know where it's supposed to end. Okay, you can see here I have the width of my knob. It's about 1/2 inch, and then I have the edge of the knob marked in here, so all this has to go away. And then this just here is just kind of like marking where the end of the bat's going to be, so I know when to start rounding this piece over to form that knob. Alright, so let's blend this piece into the rest of the bat, and we should be almost done. Okay, so here we are at the top of the bat. This is actually going to be the end of the bat. I'm going to need to round some of this over a little bit and shape that up, and I have to remove a lot of this wood so I can get to that. So let's just take that off. Okay, I could probably do a little bit more here, but I'm going to stop. And then what I'll wind up doing is I'll just cut that off with the saw and I'll sand that all up once this stub has been removed. Alright, you can see we have the bats pretty much finished, right? I just got to sand it up. So we're going to do that next. I got my dust collection hood in place. I'm going to turn on the dust collection. It's going to be loud, sanding's boring. So I'll do the sanding and you can listen to some music. Alright. So we have that sanded up to 400. And what I'm going to do is just the last step here for sanding is I'm just going to sand it all lengthwise to take out any of the circular sand marks. And then we're going to cut it off. We're going to cut off the two ends, I guess. And then sand the ends. And then the bat will be done. Alright, I'm just going to use this small handsaw and I am going to cut the top of the bat away from the stub. Alright, I got to loosen up the tailstock a little bit because it's pinching in. Alright, you can see that's off. And we'll do is we'll just clean up this with a disc sander. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm just going to cut this off with a handsaw. I'm doing this left-handed because the camera's in my way. But we'll make it work. Whoops. And here we go. Alright, so here you can see that I have a sanding pad on here. I'm going to put on a 3-inch sanding disc. This is 120 grit, and we're going to work the grits through to 400, just like we did with the bat. Okay, so there you have it. Wasn't really all that difficult, right? So we got yesterday's bat and today's bat. So we got basically a set of twins. I hope you liked the video. If you did like the video, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. And just remember, if I can do this in my shop, you can do it in yours. I'm just a regular guy making stuff on a lathe in my garage. So I'll see you next time on Scott's Mini Woodshop, and have fun making a bat.